I want to credit for something, Benji.
What?
The other day,
Yeah.
we were walking around Seattle during our creator event, right? You invited a bunch of people to Seattle. It was a bunch of creators learning about going long and the big opportunity on YouTube.
Yep.
And just a few days before, I asked you if I could come in late to the studio because I was watching the iPhone event because
Yes.
I'm an Apple nerd. And I do that every single year. I don't think I've missed one since I was in high school, by the way, which don't tell any of my other employers or my teachers, by the way.
Okay.
One of the things that I found really interesting since I started working with you again over the last couple of years is that when you started vlogging again, you finally switched to a new camera. So before I get into that, I want you to tell me about your journey to the new camera here, because one of the most common questions people get on YouTube is, what is the camera I should be using? And I think you have like one or two big recommendations for that. So tell me about your journey really quick about where you landed and what you use right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to grab it, it's over there in my fanny pack. But, you know, when I first started vlogging, it was always the Canon cameras. That was all the rage. Sony actually, for like the crispiness, the mirrorless was kind of the way you went. But for vlogging, it was always Canon. And then it was like more like the consumer level stuff. But when we started full-time vlogging, it was a Canon G7X. I don't even know if it's up there or not. You want to see one of my old Canon cameras? Look at that right there, okay? It's like we got the archives. This is what we started on. This tiny little thing. Like, it makes me look like a giant now, like holding this. But it was always Canon G7X. And in fact, it was the Canon G7X for 10 years, I would say. And even we loved certain versions of it, Canon G7X Mark II, that when they came out with the 3, we didn't buy the 3. We continued to buy the 2, and we bought like 5 of them because we loved it so much. There were some updates that we didn't like. Fast forward to 2024. I started a new vlogging method in 2023 at the very end. I got into this. In fact, it was because my friend Matt and other vloggers is called the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and it's literally the greatest vlogging camera ever made. And I can say this probably with a lot of authority, and I'm not trying to flex here, but I've been vlogging. I think my wife and I have done 4,500 vlogs now in the course of 15 years. But I vlogged on my food channel in addition to my family vlog channel now, probably about 400 vlogs with this. I bet you there's not a lot of YouTubers, full-time creators that have used this. So right now, this is my favorite. I still use the Canon G7X sometimes because that's what my wife prefers. It's not this one. It's a little bit bigger. But yeah, this is my go-to. And I'm not going to go into why I love this, but if you're a creator, you know why this is so popular. And yeah, this is what I use. I have no idea where you're going with this, by the way.
Well, I said I wanted credit, right? And so I actually might ask you why you do like it, even though you didn't want to get into it. I actually didn't know. You said that Matt was the one that turned you on to that?
I think he was definitely the one that put me on. I was like, you got to do this. You got to get this. And funny enough, I was using I was actually using the Sony ZV-1 at the time and the Canon G7X because there's more functions on that I needed. But I was in Japan and with the currency exchange and my good friend Michael over there that was hosting me and showing me around Tokyo. He lent me his passport to buy this with no tax. So I bought it over there. But yeah, definitely it was Matt and it was all the rage. But the reason I like this, you want me to tell you?
Yes, I do.
Is number one, it's small, okay? So this is the size of the camera right here. But it's got this tripod, which acts both as a tripod, but also extra battery. You can take the tripod, look how quick it is, you know? Like, take that off, and then you can already see it. It's charging the camera right now, this handle, but you can take it off, and it's really small. So that whole form factor is really cool. Secondly, the screen right here, it's just so simple. So I can have it like selfie mode and I can turn the lens around like that and have it, you can't see me, but I'm looking at the screen. But also if I want to turn it from horizontal to vertical recording, that's all I do. I just flip it up and then boom, vertical recording for Instagram and, you know, social media. The third thing which makes this amazing and I still think this is underrated, is the microphone. Now, the microphone is interesting because not only can I connect this to my shirt, I mean, everyone's seen this.
Yeah.
A lot of the young people like to
Very
hold
popular.
it like this, like as like a proper microphone. I've seen people even put this on a stick or a handle, make it like a handheld mic. What makes this great is a couple things. It registers on the screen. In fact, I'll just turn it on. When you turn this on, you can see the levels on the screen. You're going to see a little green line pop up right at the top there. Yeah, you can kind of barely see it.
Yeah.
Why that's awesome is it's on.
Yeah.
So it's capturing you. But what makes it crazy is the fact that you can have a second mic that also registers on here. So if you're doing interviews, right? Thank you, Nuccioli. You can have that on there. But then what makes it the best in terms of this microphone, it's all embedded. So there's no receiver. The receiver's in the camera. Because if you were to use one of these, you'd have to have a receiver on top on the hot shoe. So this is starting to become like, camera talk or whatever.
Very technical.
So all of it, I mean, this is kind of my whole thing. Being the dad that I am, dad life, I can fit all of this into my Florharven Swedish fanny pack, all in here nicely, and it's very comfortable. I have it like this. I mean, it's so weird to even show you this because, I'm proud of this little fanny pack, and it just goes in here. I also have an extra battery that when this does run out of batteries, I can just plug it in real quick and have it charging when I'm going to my next vlog and stuff. So those are the top things. There's actually a lot of other things, but those are the things for me that make it better than this because this didn't have a tripod.
Yeah.
This didn't have embedded microphone, and there was no selfie screen. Now there is a selfie screen on the G7X, but you had to flip it up, and it made it a little more cumbersome, and you couldn't do vertical. You had to switch it, but then when you go to edit, it wasn't automatically vertical. So that'd be the quick version of why this is a great camera.
There's other things too in that camera that I've heard are really, really good. Actually, I heard them from Matt, by the way. Like one of the ones that I think everybody likes is that it has a stabilizer, right? Some people like to use a little tracking feature on it and stuff like that. One of the things Matt really likes about that he talked to me about is that you can record in D-Log, which is important if you're doing something fancier with the edit. You can kind of pull out colors and things like that.
Oh yeah, he is fancy like that.
It scales from really, really simple to very, very complex, depending on what you want. And it's such a small form factor, which I think you mentioned earlier. Which is very key for a creator, especially if you're carrying other things with you or you're doing something on the go or vlogging like we do. There's something that you mentioned that made me think of something you told me long, long ago when I first started working with you, which is your fanny pack. It's kind of a little bit like a holster. If you think about like the Wild West days, right?
I'm like Han Solo, the creator version of it.
Yeah, I mean, you are literally going and you're like quick drawing basically your thing when you're vlogging,
Totally.
especially in on It's Judy's Life. I mean, think about how I have to imagine how quickly you're pulling that thing out and trying to capture a moment, for example, with the girls, or if you're out and about, and how quickly you're pulling it out of your pocket, turning it on as you're pulling out of your pocket, and getting it to record in the exact right one fluid motion, kind of like it's a quick draw.
You want to see a quick draw?
Let's go.
Okay, I mean, we're getting really nerdy here. Okay, so this is my quick draw. Nuccioli, who's on here running the thing, is gonna laugh at me. This is me being proud. Okay, I'm in my shorts and everything. Okay, so
you're gonna need a cowboy hat.
By the way, I'm showing this off because I do this every single day, and I've done this for almost 4 years now. But literally, so when I need to, I wish you could see my your face, but when I need to, record something, boom, unzip it, turn it on, and boom, I'm recording already.
That's crazy.
Okay? And I have the screen so I can see what I'm doing. It's that quick. And then what's actually better, you flip the screen down, you can see it kind of fold into itself, then put it away, and then bam, I'm back to regular dad life stuff, So that was my quick draw example. I am very, very fast with my camera. So where are you going with this?
Okay, let me bring it home finally. Now the people have heard. The reason that's so interesting to me is because one of the important things about this is that you can pull it out with you and you can bring it with you anywhere, right? Those are two really crucial features. And it's funny to me that you mentioned that, well, first of all, I'll bring up that story because it's amazing to me that DJI has made such a popular product. We talk to so many creators; they are almost all using these things, especially if they're vlogging. Right? It's just blown up everywhere, and they've basically cornered the market on vlogging cameras. In my
Everyone's
opinion.
waiting for the next one because it's so good.
Everybody's waiting for the next one, and the fact that they have made the vlogger, one of the top vloggers of all time, switch from another camera to this is just evidence of that. So you said that you were using, I forget exactly which other point and shoot you were using beforehand. But you said you were switching between that and then the DJI Osmo. It's funny to me that you didn't mention the third camera that you use for vlogging, which is
Oh yeah, my phone.
your phone.
iPhone.
And that's where I'm going with this.
I have recorded full vlogs with just my iPhone. In fact, when I travel, the reason I use my iPhone is because to upload content to Judy, who edits our vlogs, or even my editor, Chris, right? Or got another editor, Cameron, I can upload it to the cloud very quickly.
Oh, interesting.
And not pull out my laptop, have a SD card, because you do have to connect this or pull out the SD card. So there is like a benefit to this on the go, on the fly. And like you said, even smaller form factor than my fanny pack and this whole setup. It's just in my pocket all the time.
So here's where I think I deserve credit, because that day that I asked for us to postpone coming into the studio and watch the Apple event and was nerding out about all the Apple things with the new iPhone that was going on, one of the features that they announced was an upgraded selfie camera. Well,
Yeah.
First of all, an upgraded selfie camera is something that is interesting in its own right. Like, I'm sure hundreds of millions, I mean, maybe billions of selfies taken at least every year, right?
Yeah.
You have to imagine tons and tons of selfies taken on iPhones. So better selfie camera means better photos for everybody. But let's take it from a creator's perspective, right? What does an upgraded selfie camera mean? Doubly important for a creator, right? That's part of their business. Higher quality is very important to them. So just an upgraded sensor in their front-facing camera is very important because it ups the quality. Apple took it an extra step with this iPhone, right? And during our event, when we were talking about this, we were walking around Seattle and I was talking to you and I said, Benji, I think that there's something that's going to replace the Osmo, and I think it's the iPhone, and here's why. The feature that they announced that day was that the iPhone front-facing camera has a square sensor. And you're thinking, okay, Austin, this is nerdy. Why are you bringing this up? It's actually very important because traditionally a sensor is a rectangle facing kind of like horizontally. So if your phone is horizontal, the sensor is horizontal, and therefore the picture is horizontal. If it's upright, then it's upright. If it's vertical, it's vertical. With a square sensor, if you crop it so that way it's a rectangle within that square and it's a bigger sensor overall, you can make it so that way it switches between horizontal and vertical if you're holding your phone upright. Okay, it's a relatively small feature, but if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
People naturally hold their phones up and down. It's easier to look at it when the lens is centered on the phone. It's going to make everybody in their family like take better
It's a little
pictures.
easier to hold.
It's a little bit easier
Because this is how I hold it for when I'm vlogging. I mean, my hand
to hold, holding it
kind of
horizontally.
is like got built muscles just for this, and I'm pretty good at it. But yeah, everyone can just do this because we hold it all the time, so it's more comfortable.
Neutrally, do you game? I don't know if you're a gamer.
Yeah, I do dabble in the gaming side of things.
Do
What's
they
up?
call that claw grip? I've heard claw grip
this?
before. Yeah, when you
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is a claw grip.
Oh no,
That's
I
crazy.
got the claw grip. I got the vlogger claw grip for the iPhone.
And so the point is that you can hold it straight up and down. Immediately, the first thing that came to my mind, that's kind of like the DJI Osmo.
Yeah.
You're holding it vertically,
Yeah.
which is totally against what all the traditional phone makers are doing. It goes a step further, though, because one of the features that's really interesting about the DJI Osmo is the fact that you can tilt and pan it because of the gimbal, right? It's stabilized. You can move it without turning the camera. And it also sometimes will follow you if you have a program to do that. Well, Apple has this technology that they've called center stage that they've used for FaceTime for a long time. If you set up your phone and you move over here, then it'll follow you over here. If you stand over on this side, it'll follow you over on that side, right?
It's a digital version of it.
It's a digital version of it, right? And it'll also do things like zoom in and out. Well, guess what? That now comes to the front-facing camera on the iPhone. So suddenly, this phone starts looking more and more like an Osmo, right? It's small. You can have extra batteries. You carry it with you. It's quick to use. It's based on a screen. You can turn it around and use the back or front-facing camera without having to lose sight of the screen. You can go switch between horizontal and vertical. These are all things you said, by the way. And here's the last thing, which is that you can potentially, and this is the thing that really sold me, use your AirPods as a receiver microphone for the main camera, which is a totally weird feature. Basically, you select the button and it'll pop up, and you
Which
can
it
use your
wasn't
microphone.
a thing back in the day. You had to have a third-party video software app that made it so that you can make the AirPods a microphone, which was so dumb to me because, you know, like there's been times where I vlog with my phone and I want the crispy audio of just in my AirPods. I don't even need anything fancy like the DJI mic. Yeah. So I always thought, why wouldn't you just build that in? So it's cool that they finally did.
And so this was a couple of weeks ago when I was telling you this. I was like, Benji, I'm telling you this is going to happen. And
I do remember that.
And we were walking around and you're like, why are you telling this right before we go on stage and do that? You're just nerding out for no reason. And I was like, well, because I got to get the receipts in, you know? And so last Friday, this is just a couple days ago, you sent me a message from Matt, actually, which is why it was so significant that he recommended the Osmo. And he's holding up the iPhone 17 Pro and he's saying, check this out. I can record this way. I can record an Apple log. It has full
he was holding it vertical.
Yep.
But he was recording the video in horizontal. But there's another part, another layer.
Interesting.
Remember, he made a note, or maybe you couldn't hear. He made a note of the audio being picked up, but he wasn't wearing the AirPods. It was just the way it processes exterior sounds, like beyond your voice.
Yes.
It was suppressing it so that it focused on your voice, which means that you don't need a AirPods microphone, even like a secondary microphone, for the average creator. Now, I literally go across the room. So when I do Costco vlogs, I'll have it like today. I had my little known fact. I sometimes place this on random shelves at Costco, and I'll film myself talking to my daughter, usually not by myself, but sometimes I'm like commenting, but I'm all the way across the aisle. And because I have this microphone, which clips onto my shirt, it can pick it up. So the iPhone on its own can't do that. But if you had the AirPods, then you need less stuff. Because guess what? I didn't mention. I don't have it in here right now, but I always carry my AirPods in here. And sometimes I take the AirPods out just to make it less bulky. So if I didn't need my Osmo or my DJI microphone and just need my phone, this would be even lighter, and that's kind of ideal. But okay, so just to push back on you, you did say that Matt sent it to me without knowing you called it. There's two things. One, it doesn't have its own standing tripod. That is just one downside. So the extra bulk is worth it for me personally right now. But guess what? This is just leveled up to where I might leave this at home more. Yes. But to your credit, there is another thing that you might have called out but didn't necessarily specifically mention. You kind of said this is the DJI Osmo competitor, but it's probably almost guaranteed that that's Apple's plan, and this is why. Not only because of all the settings on the iPhone that are better and the functions and the upgraded things are horizontal, but you sent me the picture. I think there's the first time they sent out iPhones to a ton of creators.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
I never seen that. Maybe they've done it for Marquez Brownlee, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how it works in the tech world, but there was a lot more creators that received the iPhone, and that function of making the selfie camera so it captures in horizontal, I think was because think about how many people bought this.
I know.
On top of having an iPhone. And if you buy this and you use it a lot, you're not going to use your iPhone for creating content. And this is like the big, almost like a Hail Mary, like, hey, let's really crush DJI. I don't know. I think that I'm still going to use the Osmo, but you were 100% right that Apple is making a play for creators. And now they're sending these phones out to some of the biggest creators to make a statement.
And so I only bring this up because there's actually one thing that I want to request from Apple, not that they're going to listen to this, but if there is anyone out here who eventually listens to this, which is that just a few days before you sent me those videos from Matt talking about using the iPhone, he tweeted this or posted on Threads this. WTH Apple, why is it that I can't use my DJI Mic 3 over Bluetooth with the native camera app, but I can use it with the Blackmagic app? I tried the Blackmagic app and I can't fix it. Too much fuss. Back to my Sony FX3 I go. I only bring that up because it really speaks to, number one, still the fact that DJI really nailed it down to the microphone, right? It's really amazing. And I think the AirPods are a good intermediary, but there's so many like little small things that you can change about the way that these things work that are important to creators, right? But secondly, more importantly, that for creators, their gear is such an important thing. The reason for you pulling out that Osmo and treating it like it's a quick draw and being able to use it very quickly is because if you miss a moment, well, that's worse content, right? You need to be able to do that instantly because of the way that you do your vlogging, right? And so one of the things that I think that it's an important takeaway for creators in this is that no matter the tool you choose, understanding the use of your tool and how it fits within your kind of workflow is a very important thing to do, right? We talk a lot about in our course Vlogging Academy about the removal of friction. We've stripped down all of the frills of YouTube from all of the other YouTube experts and really narrowed it down to the very core things that we think you need to be successful on YouTube right now, because we're trying to remove as many hurdles as we can. And one of those that we get asked commonly is the gear. And the simple answer from me, and one of the reasons I bring up the phone as something that's exciting for me, is that pretty much everybody has the phone.
And knows how to use it.
And so instead of spending $800, I don't even know how much the Osmo costs now, $800, $900,000
$700, $750 for that creator bundle, which includes this. Yeah.
You can definitely use your phone and have it be high enough quality, especially if you're doing some AT&T trade-in deal or something like that, or some other thing. Or even if you have a 5-year-old or 10-year-old phone, plenty high enough quality to get millions and millions of views sometimes, depending on what you're doing. In fact, we just saw a video the other day that was very low quality and it still got a ton of views, and that was kind of interesting as well. So that's all I have to say. I don't know if you have any final words.
Well, you're totally right about the simplicity of use. The reason we use the Canon, if this turns on, that'd be freaky. Okay, it doesn't turn on, okay? But the reason we use Canons is because they were known as the easiest for the beginner to use, these consumer level cameras. We're not talking about the DSLRs, but you turn it on and all the auto settings were just perfect for the amateur, right? Somebody that's just starting out creating. And look, there's a little record button on the back. That's all you need to know. So my wife, who really wasn't into trying to learn about the camera, could just easily record a video and not have to think about how the lighting is set. What's the, like, I don't even remember. I haven't like done all the exposure, the aperture, I have some DSLRs up there that I don't use. But those, you have to really understand all the buttons, all the settings, all the functions, and it can be confusing. And if you set something wrong, it looks wrong. So that's why we did the Canon. So whatever I used afterwards, whatever my wife was going to use had to also be simple. And that's why ultimately you're right, because my wife now uses her phone more than ever to vlog, like all the time, because she doesn't even really want to learn how to use the Osmo, even though she does use it once in a while. There's enough complexity that it's not her go-to afterwards. I really do believe that one day she'll leave the Canon G7X and just go to the iPhone.
Really?
100%, totally. Especially if she gets this new iPhone 17 and sees the quality. I don't know if she'll need the Canon anymore, because think about also transferring files. Right now she pulls an SD card out of the Canon and then puts it into her SD card slot on her laptop. Thank you, Apple, for bringing that back. Yeah. But if she can just AirDrop this to her Apple laptop, then she's off to the races. So yeah, we'll see how long she uses this,